Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for consulting with me as we have over the past week to get to where we are today. We're here today to support Israel by filling a vacancy in the position for ambassador to Israel. We have an acting charge there in Stephanie Hallett. She's doing a great job. When I visited with the Prime Minister early this year, she was very helpful to me, meeting with that meeting and the other officials I met with. So we do have things being done there on the ground. I agree with you. We need this thing filled. The problem I have is it needs to be filled with the right person. The only thing worse than having it empty would be having the wrong person there. And I have some issues in that regard, which we're going to talk about and hopefully clear the air today one way or another. 18 years ago, Israel took the brave step of dismantling Israeli settlements in Gaza, handing it
committing genocide in Gaza. Genocide in Gaza. And we're funding it.
The committee will be in order.
Senators, 800 international human rights lawyers called on states to intervene to stop the genocide in Gaza. Palestine, Palestinians need freedom.
18 years ago, Israel took the brave step of dismantling Israeli settlements in Gaza, handing the territory over to the Palestinian Authority. This good faith effort has been a disaster for the people of Gaza and for Israel as well. Now Israel faces an unprecedented crisis on the scale of the September 11th attacks against the United States. Masked gunmen killed entire families in their homes, massacred babies, beheaded some, and the elderly, and dragged hostages across the border to Gaza. These attacks were brutal and horrific. We mourn the loss of over 1,400 Israelis and 31 Americans and people from numerous other countries. As Israel rightly responds to safeguard its citizens, it is absolutely imperative that Israel has the freedom to act until they get the job done. This happened to us and to Europe in World War II. The Nazis had taken over Germany and were marching across Europe. We made the decision, our allies made the decision, that the organization, the Nazis, could not exist any further. And we didn't just go to battle to defeat Germany on the battlefield. We went to war to defeat and dismantle and eliminate the Nazis. We did that. It was difficult. We eliminated the Nazis as a military, as a political force, as a cultural force, and everything else. The Israelis are attempting to do the same thing now with Hamas, who richly deserve it. Almost immediately after the...
Stop the genocide of Palestinians! Stop weaponizing Jewish trauma! We need a ceasefire now! Stop sending aid to Israel! Stop the Israeli genocide of Palestinians!
The committee will come to order. Let me make it clear. We will not tolerate interruptions in our hearing. You see what's going to be happening. We ask that those that have strong views, there's a place to express it, but it's not to disrupt this hearing. I will not tolerate that. Senator Risch.
Almost immediately after the attacks on Israel, we saw calls for a ceasefire and mediation. These calls are misguided, dangerous, and fail to recognize Israel's legitimate right to protect its people and restore deterrence. What happened in Gaza is directly linked to Iran. That is so important. What happened in Gaza is directly linked to Iran. The Biden administration cannot wish away the Iranian threat or appease the Iranian regime with promises of unfrozen funds and sanctions relief. The attacks in Israel and reoccurring attacks against our partners, troops, and diplomats are proof of a failed Iran policy. Iran is the supporter of Hamas, which is impotent without Iran. Unfortunately, the fact of the matter is that Iran has more resources to support terrorism today than it did in 2019. U.S. sanctions enforcement under this administration have been utterly lacking. Iran has earned a shocking $80 billion in oil revenue since the Biden administration took office. Iran's oil economy, once hobbled at 250,000 barrels a day, is now selling almost 2 million barrels of oil every day, mostly to China. We know where that money is going. Iran's Ghost Fleet, used to evade U.S. sanctions, has grown from 70 vessels to over 300 during the Biden administration. The unfreezing of funds, first in Iraq and now the whopping $6 billion from South Korea are completely unacceptable, and it makes Americans and our partners less safe. It should come as no surprise that these attacks occurred immediately after the Biden administration unfroze the $6 billion and also gave $75 million directly to UNRWA over my strenuous objections, by the way. On Palestinian policy, the Biden administration argued that restoring funding that I objected to would give the Palestinian Authority the leverage to promote moderate Palestinian voices and reform organizations like UNRWA. 2 years later, we've seen no reform. Violence is at record levels. Pay for slay is active, and many Palestinians identify with terror groups to meet their aspirations. Like Iran policy, it's time for a wholesale reevaluation of Palestinian policy. So today we're here to help Israel. We're here to look at the vacancy that exists, the nominee that's been put before us. We're here to help Israel, to not hurt it. Secretary Lew, I have reservations on your appointment as America's ambassador to Israel. Not only will you need to support Israel as it responds to these attacks, but also as it contends with the enduring and indeed existential Iranian threat, which I think is an underlying and foundational issue here. I have reservations about your ability to do that. You played a key role in supporting the Obama administration's nuclear negotiations, and I've had long-standing concerns over a lack of transparency before Congress on the transfers of cash to the regime. You have publicly insisted that transfers of cash do not free up Iranian resources for terror activities. I fundamentally agree with that assessment. Really importantly, it's alleged that you lied or at least misled us, this very committee. On that, I have 3 items I want to insert in the record, and I will, Mr. Chairman. 2 of them are opinion pieces from the Washington Post, and the third one is a report by the Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations, which has been authored, and I'd like to introduce.
Without objection, it'll be included in the record.
So I'm going to have some questions for you about your activities in what I think was a backhanded way of supporting Iran. And with that, I'm going to yield back. I'm here to support Israel today, help every way I can. But I said it's important we get the right person in this position. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.